Welcome to everything you need to know about the European Super League. Now, I'm joined with Skippy, who is somewhat informed on the situation, and Travis, who is not informed at all. So, this will be a good opportunity for him to ask a lot of questions and hopefully clear a lot of things up for those who are also wondering what could possibly be going on. Because this is very detailed, very in-depth. I've read probably 6 or 7 articles on it myself just today, and each article doesn't really cover it as much as the next. There's updates coming out minute by minute, and it'll probably be a completely different scenario a day from now. So this is just pretty much immediate reaction. If you don't know what the Super League is, as of right now, it's 12 teams. The goal is to have 20, but as of right now, there's only 12 confirmed, and they're led by groups by Florentino Perez, who's the current president of Real Madrid, and the Glazers, who have control over Manchester United. Yeah, we don't like the Glazers. As a Man United fan, we hate the Glazers. As of right now, the 12 teams that are confirmed are AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, Arsenal, Barcelona, Chelsea, Inter Milan, Juventus, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Real Madrid, and Tottenham. Now, it's proposed to be a 20-team format, 12 year in, year out, 3 extra teams that have yet to be disclosed. Rumors are it might be Porto out of Portugal. It might be Ajax. Who knows? We don't really know. The only thing we do know is that there's 3 teams that for sure will not be, and that is PSG, Bayern Munich, and Dortmund. Ironically, 2 of the 3 are all fan-owned. So I think that's a pretty good gauge on how the fans feel about this, as they've all went crazy all day long. This has been the most outrage I've ever seen. This is arguably the most outrage, right up there when Sergio Ramos dislocated Mo Salah's shoulder.
That is big news.
It's massive news. This changes the entire landscape of football. And yes, I'm American and we'll be calling it football. Screw off.
Well, I haven't read on it a lot because we had the awards ceremony we had to go to. But from what I did see, it said that the players that were in this league would first off not be allowed to do the United Champions League, and then also the World Cup.
Yeah, any UEFA governing body or UEFA sanctioned tournament.
First off, I understand they're trying to take over the UCL. I understand that. They're trying to make it bigger, trying to make it better. I understand that. Am I wrong, or is the UCL made up of the top 4 teams out of every competition?
So it's the top 4.
Out of every league.
It's
in
tricky.
Europe.
It's league by league. So it's top 4 in England. It's the top 3, or it might be the top 4 in the Serie A. It's the top 4 in Germany and the top 4 in Spain. But there's also every other European competition, like the Irish League, the Scottish League, the Danish League. It's the best team or 2 teams that they don't automatically qualify like your top 5 leagues, but they do go into playoff rounds. So like your FC Midtjylland, they end up in there. I'm pretty sure even Porto have to go through a qualifying round, only 1, but they still have to go through a qualifying round.
Yeah. Well, where I'm getting at with that question is that gives so many more teams the chance to play, the chance to show themselves. Yeah. They're like, hey, I'm better than this. But if they create this Super League, which they are, it's not going to get as many teams a fighting chance. And when we watch in the UCL, it's still going to be a thing. We're going to be looking at teams that we're going to be like, well, obviously they're not the best.
And
they can't be the best because the best teams aren't here.
And also the major problem is that the 12 founding teams, as of right now, all have a guaranteed spot. And the problem with that is I'm okay with every team on this list aside from Arsenal and Tottenham.
Arsenal hasn't done a thing, and neither has Tottenham.
Yeah, Arsenal.
Mourinho's trying to do something with Tottenham.
He's sacked today.
You're kidding.
Sacked as of today.
You are joking.
Yeah.
Oh, the special one was sacked today.
Yep. The original quote was that because of this news, he wouldn't allow his team to practice and protest, but it later came out that was all false. So really, it was just his team's in 7th, and they should be in the top 6. Yeah.
I know he sucked, but still, they sacked him today?
Sacked him today.
Wow.
As of about 6 hours ago?
Wow.
Actually, no, it was early this morning.
Wow. No. I haven't looked on anything today. I haven't been on my phone. Oh, my God.
And let's just touch on Jose for a second.
Where's he going to go? Where do you think he goes?
The only hope... I think that
he's out of it.
the only case for Jose Mourinho to be successful, I still believe in Jose. As a Man United fan, I didn't want Jose at Man United, but I still love and respect Jose Mourinho for what he's done. Anytime you can take Porto to a Champions League final and win it, and then take an Inter Milan side to win the treble, you're incredible to me. I don't care if it has been 15 years ago or however long it's been. I don't care. You're still incredible to me. And his teams, I mean, you know, I was just telling you about this the other day. There's certain games, like Jose still has it. Like when he was at Chelsea, there were games you just knew he was going to win. It's been touched on shows like The Kickoff before, but it's like Arsene Wenger's 1,000th game. Chelsea versus Arsenal. The news media, everyone's going crazy over Arsene Wenger's 1,000th game and how he's been such a contributing factor to the world of football as we know it, and how he's this incredible thinker and everything. Yeah, screw you. 6-0. Chelsea beat Arsenal on Wenger's 1,000th day. He went to his players and said, yeah, we're just going to ruin this guy's day, and they went and did it. So he has that, you know, to me, Jose is the Sergio Ramos of managers. If you don't understand football and you don't know who Jose is, he's just a tough, rough. I mean, started from nothing. He's earned everything he's ever had. He's never been a player. Started from the very bottom. You know, he's and it's from a style that a lot of people don't like, and it's a style that really it's a style that doesn't fit in modern football. Like he dominated the mid 2000s at Chelsea.
I don't know. He's actually had some, like, he's not very consistent.
He's not.
He has success in one place, and then the next he has no success whatsoever.
Well, I think that the only chance Jose has at success, there's 2 or 3 options. One, there's the Portugal job. Mm-hmm. He could be the Portuguese national team, and that'll probably be his retirement job. After he's done there, after either a successful or unsuccessful run in the Euros or the World Cup, he's done. But I think before that, if you want Jose Mourinho to be your manager, best case scenario, at least in my opinion, is if, like, a year ago there was rumor of $1 trillion takeover at Newcastle. Mm-hmm. If they get $1 trillion takeover and they get a billionaire manager who's willing to put in the money that a Sheikh Mansour at Man City has, you go to Jose and say, bring in every player that you've ever wanted.
And then he'll bring in very good players.
He is an incredible judge of talent. I mean, look at what he's done with Ndombele.
Uh-huh.
Ndombele has been a revolution under him. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has been incredible. He's been the best, arguably one of the best number 6s in all of the Premier League, and it's because of Jose Mourinho. He's gotten some incredible performances out of Harry Kane, and I know that everybody's like, well, it's the relationship that ruined it, and, you know, Son was just almost crying in a press conference 3 days ago because he ruined the team spirits. But you also have to understand that's been an injury-riddled team. Dele Alli has disappeared off the face of the earth, and a lot of people are blaming Jose for that. But Jose has also gotten some incredible performances. Like, at Man United, he got a lot out of Paul Pogba. Like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, well, Pogba doesn't get back, he doesn't do this. He was getting a lot out of a player who only done half the work. And I love Paul Pogba, but he was only doing half the work. He didn't buy into his system. And in the last 10 years, Man United have not had a true number 6. They've not had someone who could sit in front of that back line and command it like Jose needs. He had Claude Makelele at Chelsea. He was a crucial number 6. He's the reason for the name, the Makelele role. He's always had an incredible number 6 at Chelsea. You know, like I said, he had Claude Makelele. Like, he's always had that defensive presence and a true solid defensive team. And he just didn't have that at Man United, and he didn't have that. He had a very, very old defense and a very inconsistent defense at Tottenham. So is it all the players' fault? No. Is it all Jose's fault? No. I still think he can be successful, but only in a very specific set of scenarios. With that being said, why are Tottenham and Arsenal in this? I understand they bring in a lot of money, but Tottenham's not won a trophy in like 20 years, and Arsenal are barely in the top 12.
That's what I was going to say. What place is Tottenham at? Are they in the bottom half of the top?
They are, I think, 7th or 8th.
Yeah. But still, you're going to consider them one of the best. Like, if you're wanting to create a new super team, why would you not just, like, you know, put it as the best teams in the world? But no, you start off with Arsenal?
Yeah. Arsenal? Well, a lot of that is because of their owner, Stan Kroenke, who's also the owner of the Los Angeles Rams. He was one of the driving forces in this. Him and the Glazers kind of teamed up.
2 teams like that, 2 powerhouses.
Well, he owns another massive team, and it's another American team that's slipping my mind. But he has a couple of huge teams. I don't know if it's the Rams or the Chargers. He owns one of them though. So I understand they have the most money, but they're also just going to be absolutely battered in this. Mm-hmm. Arsenal might lose to Brighton on a Saturday and then get 4-0'd by Barcelona on a Wednesday. I think it's just a bad business plan.
Barcelona haven't been playing good, though.
Doesn't matter. Arsenal are worse.
Well, yeah, they are, but you know how Barcelona are.
They can still just show up on any day, though. Like Barcelona has the opportunity to show up against any team.
They only do good if Messi does good.
That's fair, but also
Messi.
I'm willing to bet on Messi.
A lot of games, Messi will have 2 goals, 1 assist. They'll still lose. And he is the only one doing anything on the field. They'll still lose. But somehow, you know what I mean?
Here's my thing.
It's happened multiple times in recent games.
I'm still betting on Barcelona over AC Milan, Atletico, Inter Milan, Juventus, and Tottenham. Those are the teams, and probably Chelsea. Those are the teams I would 100% guarantee you'd show up against.
Okay, well, I got a question for you. So, with those teams being in it, right now, the top 4 of the Champions League going into the semifinals.
And also,
Real, City, PSG, and Chelsea.
Yep. Only one of those teams.
One of those teams, which is Paris Saint-Germain.
Which is the ultimate oil money club.
That's what I'm saying. But they are not on that list.
Yeah,
so
there's not a single French or German team in this.
Is that going to affect? Oh, so Bayern in it?
No. Bayern and Dortmund are not in it. They already said they
will
not.
How are you not going to put Bayern in? Bayern Dortmund.
Here's the thing: Bayern and Dortmund are both fan owned. In Germany, there's a 50-1 rule. There has to be 50 fans to 1 majority owner. That's
true, but at the same time, like, man, if you want to create a league with the best teams, Bayern is killing.
The defending champions.
I think they're killing it. How are they? Bayern is one of the top teams.
You're not going to have the best striker in the world in this.
Lewandowski's killing it.
Best keeper.
You're not going to have arguably the best keeper. You're not going to have arguably the best midfield.
Yeah, just 6.
That.
You're not going to have the best striker. You're not going to have
Haaland or any of them guys. James Sancho.
Nope.
Man, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't have arguably the best team in the world not in this.
You know what? It's a good thing they didn't get Sancho because they have Nicolas Pepe. Yeah, that's the state of this. So there's a couple of holes in it. And if you're wondering why this is all happening now, it's been kind of rumored around for the past couple months, and most of us fans, I thought that it was just a power play. Like, hey, put the balls in your court. You know, we can leave at any time. But UEFA didn't take them seriously, and this is their punishment. Now, UEFA have come out and said, yeah, you're not allowed to compete in our tournaments, which include every single tournament you can name, like all of them, Champions League,
So what are
European.
we going to do about the World Cup, though? I'm
player
really interested in that because they're listing big names on this list, and there's no way that those players are not going to play for their countries.
In all reality,
no way they're not going to.
In all reality,
it's
in a couple weeks, this will look completely different. Right now, it's UEFA coming out and saying, no, there's not a shot.
The only way this stands is if they allow them to play. I'm not even saying Champions League, but they've got to do it in the World Cup. There's no way. The countries, that is a big deal.
Well,
there's like 4 billion people that watch the World Cup average yearly.
Well, let's just look at England, for instance. Let's look at the England national team. Let's look at their starting 11 and who's not in it. Okay, Phil Foden's not in it. Jadon Sancho's not in it. Harry Kane's not in it. Marcus Rashford's not in it. There's your entire front 3.
Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo will not be in the World Cup.
And it would be their last World Cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going longer. Now, they might surprise us like, Tom Brady has in football. But they don't do the World Cup in football.
Yeah. It's a bit more difficult at that stage.
Yeah, they might go that long, but there's no way they're going to be as, they are still both putting up numbers. They're still both killing the game right now.
Yeah.
You cannot look at either of those players and say, no, this might be your last time to play for your country, but you're not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
No, get out of here. No, that would make me mad, and I guarantee you it makes every single person that loves football mad.
Well, just think of the names that could be left off. Let's go down the list. AC Milan, Zlatan, who was supposed to be coming back, wouldn't be allowed to play for Sweden.
I seen something about him that said he's not going to be playing anymore. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because he's 38 but still performing at a world class level.
He said it all.
So it's very touch and go with Zlatan. Atletico Madrid, João Felix.
He's so young.
Jan Oblak.
He's so Jan Oblak. Oh Lord.
Jan Oblak would not be allowed to compete.
Dude, I love Oblak. He is.
That's not mentioning Saul.
Oh God.
It's not mentioning Koke. It's not mentioning. I don't think he would get in, but even players like Tamal Lamar, who are incredibly talented.
Oh, we're screwed, people. If you watch this and you actually love football, we're screwed. We're screwed. There's no fun left in it.
I'm going to skip over Arsenal just
No,
for
screw Arsenal.
comedic effect.
Yeah.
Barcelona. Okay, let's skip over Messi. Griezmann wouldn't be allowed. Frankie de Jong wouldn't be allowed. Andre ter Stegen would not be allowed.
No, that's my favorite keeper.
Which wouldn't be that big of a thing if you didn't also have Manuel Neuer out. He would be the number one if Manuel Neuer was. You could probably make a case he'd be the number one now.
I've always said he should be the number. I understand Neuer is at the level he is, and he's at a level no one else is at. I understand that, but he is decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not putting up the same numbers that he has.
He's 36 years old.
He is. He's getting old. Like that's how time goes. Ter Stegen, it's his time. He's been in the shadows for too long. Now, 4 years ago, yeah, obviously Neuer's the dude. Neuer's the dude. He is going to start, and I would even tell you that.
Okay, let's go to Chelsea. Timo Werner, who has not been good for Chelsea, but would undoubtedly start at striker for Germany, I think.
You got Christian Pulisic.
How about N'Golo Kante?
Christian Pulisic is the only thing really that does anything for the United States, and
he's not even the big N'Golo Kante. Wouldn't be allowed to play for France.
Ooh.
And he is their engine.
Yeah.
He's what won them the Euros and the World Cup, in my opinion. Well, almost won them the Euros, and then did win them the World Cup, in my opinion, because it allowed Pogba to do whatever he wanted. Yeah.
Mendy.
Mendy, goalkeeper.
Is he starting this game?
He's still starting.
Sort of thought.
The only game that Kepa got was like the FA Cup.
Yeah, sort of thought.
Which is it's still a good competition, but it's second string goalkeeper.
Now, a little side note. I don't think Kepa should start. I don't.
No,
I mean, he's been too inconsistent.
Well, the problem is
they paid $82 million for that guy, and he ain't even starting. He's on the bench.
That's the major problem, and you saw this with Fernando Torres when he went to Chelsea. Sometimes the price tag is just too much, and then players can't live up to that. And I think Kepa's still a good player. I think he's still a good goalkeeper. He just can't.
He's too messed up in the head.
Yeah, he's mentally not. He's never going to live up to that at Chelsea.
As a goalkeeper, I'm a goalkeeper. Right now, I'm not necessarily allowed to play because I've had too many concussions. But I play on a college team, and as a goalkeeper, I can tell you right now, if you get like screwed up mentally, you're done. You're done. There's like it takes so much to come back because I've been there. I've done it. And it's not even on like I'm not even on that level. I'm not even on that level, like not even close.
Well, look at what it's done to David De Gea.
Yeah, it's the same thing with David De Gea. Literally,
De Gea went from the best goalkeeper in the world without question
to having a few bad games, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're terrible. You're terrible. Like we don't want you anymore." And could you imagine that on a global scale?
On a global scale,
like 4 billion, like everyone watches soccer. It's the most known sport in the world, and he is at one of the top clubs in the world. Could you imagine getting all of that hate?
Not only was he on one of the at the time probably the richest club in the world. Mm-hmm. He was also saving the richest club in the world from complete mediocrity.
For the longest time, De Gea was the only thing that Man U had.
4 or 5 years, he was the only thing keeping us relevant.
Yeah, and then he kept getting hate and he kept getting hate. Could you?
Well, you know what ruined him?
Would you not check out?
What ruined him?
I'm a goalkeeper for a college team. I would check out. And it's not even like so much publicity, so much hate. No, you're out of there.
And it went from De Gea, the best in the world, to Ronaldo scoring a hat trick, and it was just all over. That was a turning point, at least in my opinion.
And then he got like messed up, and then once he like you could see that people were hating him, he would make the small mistakes that he never would. He would be near post going like this, it'd bounce off his arm, go in, like stuff like that. He's done that a couple times. I think he even got like nutmegged for a goal. Like that would never happen.
And also, he recently took time off for the birth of his kid, and it gave Ollie even more excuse to start Dean Henderson.
Now,
and Dino's been pretty solid.
Dino's killed it, and he's young.
And he's going
to be a top keeper.
He'll probably be England's number one if he's allowed to play. Yeah, but that's the big question. That's the big question: is are any of these players going to be allowed to play? Is this UEFA bluffing, or is this them saying we're laying the law down?
I don't know, brother. It's UEFA.
I think they're bluffing. I don't know.
I don't think they're bluffing at all.
You can't miss out on Messi and Ronaldo in the World Cup.
Yeah, you can't, and that's why. Like, obviously, I'm upset about it too. But you can't be as big as UEFA is, and then put that out there and just be bluffing.
And that's the thing is we're
so big.
We've mentioned 2 names, and a couple of names we've already mentioned, but you got to think.
How about Allison?
How about Mo Salah, who's having the best year of his career, would not be allowed to play?
Mane.
Sadio Mane. How about this? Arguably the biggest name on the list, in at least my opinion, Kevin De Bruyne would not be allowed to play for Belgium.
He's hurt right now, but I
He
understand
would
what you're
still
saying,
play
though.
for Belgium.
I understand what you're saying. I didn't
Eden,
think about him.
Eden Hazard, even as injury prone he's been, would still play for Belgium.
Dude, he has stayed hurt since he got to Real Madrid. And it's been thing after thing about him is you get hurt, you show up unfit. It's just been hate since he got there, and that was his dream club.
And he's also at the tipping point age of 30.
Mm-hmm. Things are going downhill for him.
Sadly, and Eden Hazard was my favorite.
He was a baller.
Even as a Man United fan, he was my favorite player.
He was a baller at Chelsea.
He was my favorite player to watch.
He was one of the
he took
big
over.
names I first learned, other than Messi.
Well,
and Ronaldo.
This might be a bold take, but he was the best player. He was the best player at the last World Cup. Yeah, but Mbappe scored like 2 goals and stole all the headlines.
Well, yeah, but
Modric got the best player, but that was just because he was on the best player on the most underrated team.
well, yeah,
in
they
my
was the
opinion.
underdog in everything. Like no one's seen.
Eden Hazard ran that Belgium team, and that's if you can run a team and be successful when Kevin De Bruyne's not the one running the team, I think that speaks volumes.
Well, yeah, Kevin De Bruyne is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. That dude literally can put a pass wherever you want it.
And those are just some of the
On a
names.
platter.
These are just some of the names that
Right on your foot, going 19 miles an hour down the sideline, sprinting your butt off. He puts it right on your foot mid sprint. Get out of here. It's perfect. And he's got a shot. He's got stamina, endurance. He knows the game better than anyone on the field. It's crazy.
So, and that's just one consequence. That's just one consequence.
You are not letting us watch good football.
That's just one consequence.
Like me and you, we all love seeing tactical, great football. You take these players off this list, you're not letting them play, first off, in the World Cup for their countries, and then for the Champions League. No.
And the thing is, you're not only taking away the first option players, but you're also taking away the second option players,
And sometimes the third.
like if Harry Kane doesn't play for England, Tammy Abraham's at least name is on the list, and he can't even play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he doesn't start for Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one consequence. Now, we talked about how it has been talked, when it was being talked about, like last October when they first approached JP Morgan. And if you're wondering why this is all happening right now, is because there's a lot of the biggest clubs in the world who, yes, they're worth billions, but they're losing money this season because of this little thing called COVID-19, if you've ever heard of it. The global pandemic exposed the instability in the existing UEFA model. So there's teams losing money everywhere. Man United have been in debt for 15 years, and this season has killed them. Barcelona owe more money on players than what they have in their current squad. They owe more money on players that they've already sold.
Yep.
Than most teams spend in transfers. And they're on the verge of bankruptcy. Now, this is probably the reason for this Super League. This is probably, they think, their home run shot to get back into it. But they're like 1-point-something billion in debt. Like, it's bad.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, I've just got my whole head wrapped around just thinking about this Super League. And I know you guys are talking about that, but, like, I keep going back to the whole bluffing statement, and I keep thinking about this, and I'm like, are you gonna watch it? Are you still gonna watch it?
Oh, I'm 100% gonna watch it.
We're all gonna watch it, and they know
have
that.
to.
They know that.
You're gonna have to watch it, or else you're not gonna be able to watch the best players in the world.
Exactly, and I feel like that's why they're doing it.
Especially if UEFA aren't bluffing. If UEFA aren't bluffing, it pushes more fans to watch it because they'll have to.
They'll have to. We will have to. That's the thing. You don't want to see Messi finish his career, then
And also another thing that people, I think that's being lost in the fold is that, so essentially the Premier League becomes the championship, League 1 becomes League 2. Well, there's not any League 1 teams in it, but all the top leagues essentially become secondary leagues. So what that means, at least in my small brain, is that transfer numbers are going to go through the roof. Jadon Sancho might be a £200 million transfer to any of those top teams, and if they're bringing in more money, the whole idea is that UEFA will be giving money to spread around. And if they're giving money to spread around, that means that you'll have more money to spend, which will bring teams like Barcelona, Man United out of debt. So I think transfers are going to go through the roof, and it's going to be so much harder for your Brightons.
So much more money thrown.
Well, it's going to be so much harder for your teams that already can't compete, like your Newcastles. I feel so sorry for Newcastle. A, they have a terrible owner. B, they have no money to spend on transfers. And C, they just had a $1 trillion takeover get rejected last season, which was completely rigged by the top 6 teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much harder for them to get anybody because a £40 million transfer is going to be 90. And football's already going in that trajectory. But now this is just exponentially accelerating it.
Okay.
And that's something that I haven't actually seen anywhere. That's just a kind of a theory that I have. Maybe it's completely wrong, but that's just something that I was thinking about.
So if this actually goes through, are we going to see a lot more teams that we've never seen in the UCL?
Probably.
Well, the idea is that if this goes through, it could very well potentially demolish the UCL.
Actually, yeah.
Well, there's still teams in it.
But
after the season.
no one's going to watch it.
After the season, no one will watch it.
Well,
It will
who's
essentially-
going to win it every year?
Here's
PSG?
the thing. No. Well, here's the thing.
PSG or
Probably. But here's the
PSG or
thing.
Bayern. It's going to be that every year.
Champions
I
League-
still watch
The
it.
Champions League becomes the Europa League. Nobody watches the Europa League. Unless your team's in it, nobody watches it. I don't care about... I was a Man United fan. I didn't care about
watch
them playing
Europa
FC
League.
Copenhagen.
I'll watch every game that I can.
Well, that's fair, and I do as well. But if I'm picking games, am I going to watch Chelsea versus Tottenham, or am I going to watch Man United versus fucking Sporting? I'm going to watch Chelsea versus Tottenham. It's going to be a better game.
You got a point, man. That sucks.
It sucks a lot. And so here's the proposed format. It's going to be 20 teams. 12 of the existing members are going to be in it every year. And there's 3 unnamed clubs. The rumors are it could be your Porto, Ajax, and maybe another team. I think Leipzig are invited, but it's the Germany. Well, the
So
Germany
they're invited,
rule.
But do the owners do they decide if they
They're
go or
fan
not?
owned, so they can't just all get together and go yes or no.
Well, the fans either way would say no.
The fans are going to say no because Germany has the 50-1 rule.
Mm-hmm. So they would say no.
Yeah.
But the other ones, the owners, is what makes it happen, right? The
Yes.
owners is the one being like, "Yo, yes, we'll agree to that," because I'm sure they get a certain amount of money.
They're billionaires trying to get more billions. It's the biggest greed and lust move in the history of sport.
They're taking away football that we love to gain more money.
And the sad thing is, it's all led by U.S.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. CEOs, sadly. So the proposed format's 20 teams, 12.
No one respects it.
12 of the teams we've already mentioned, plus the 3 unnamed, plus 5 sides who qualify annually domestically. So it would essentially be the Champions League format. How they would decide those 5, I would assume whoever finishes next highest behind the teams that are already in each of the top 5 leagues would get in. But if Ligue 1 are not going to be involved, which the president said that there's no Ligue 1 teams going to be in it. Mm-hmm. The president of the Bundesliga said there's not going to be any German teams in it. So I assume we may see freaking Leicester in it.
So how many teams are they wanting?
20.
And there's what, like 16?
There's 12 so far, 3 to be unnamed. But if they're unnamed, that means that they're not confirmed. Because there's been so many steps taken, which we're going to get into. If they're unnamed, it means they're probably on the fence.
Okay.
I would assume. I could be completely wrong, but I would assume that's what it is.
Yeah, let's see.
20 teams, and the way they want to do it is that these games would start midweek in August.
I heard it's summer too.
Yeah.
Summer.
Really?
Yeah. And the original proposed format was it wasn't supposed to start till 2023, 2024, and then UEFA got butthurt about it. So now that it could be as soon as next year.
Oh. So they're not going to affect the Champions League now?
No.
Okay, well then, I mean, it's terrible that they're affecting the Champions League because it's what we've always loved.
But if UEFA aren't bluffing, what do the Final Four teams do? Because 3 of the Final 4 would be kicked out. It would be an immediate ban.
So if this goes through, that's an immediate ban.
And they're supposed to play next week.
And this could go through before that.
This very well could. And
are they having another hearing or whatever about it?
They're supposed to be. UEFA said we're open to hear it out, which is basically them saying they're probably going to concede.
Yeah. Well, they can't just throw that in the air and be like, all right, yeah, we're just gonna we don't want nothing. Like, you have something to say about it? No, we ain't listening.
Yeah. Basically, what UEFA just said is we have no control.
We don't.
No, you gotta think. I mean, there's so many fans that does not want this. I don't think a single person wants this to happen.
There's a few, but
None of the fans, all the owners.
Yeah.
And just to get in real quick before we get into the fixture style and the way that this would work, the reason that the fans are so upset is that if UEFA stick this out and are not bluffing, this could ruin the history of football, as we know. My biggest fear out of all of it is, like, Liverpool versus Everton would never happen again if UEFA stick to this.
Mm-hmm. United Leeds.
United Leeds used to be a very historic rivalry. Would never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that people aren't really talking about, and I think it was mentioned on the kickoff. I can't remember. It probably was. Chelsea versus Real Madrid is supposed to play this week.
Mm-hmm.
That fixture has happened 3 times in the history of football. Football's been around for over 100 years. You say, well, Chelsea's only been relevant since about 2004, 2005 when Abramovich took over. But Chelsea, who are one of the biggest clubs in the world, have never went to the Estadio Santiago Bernabéu.
Really?
Have never played in Madrid.
Wow.
That's the magic of football. 2 of the biggest clubs in the world, and they've never played in one of the biggest clubs in the world stadiums. It's and plus, not only that, my biggest fear is, and if you think, this is what keeps running through my head, especially if, I keep with the caveat, if UEFA stick this out, so I'm just going to stop saying it after that. We're never going to see the greatest story in the history of football ever again. And is it likely to happen again? No, but I like the idea of the possibility being there.
Yeah.
We're never going to see Leicester win the league again.
No, yeah, that's
Just the other day, I was watching 2015-16 Premier League highlights just for no reason. It was the most when Eden Hazard scores that goal against Tottenham, and the place goes crazy. History's changed forever. There was a better chance of Elvis being alive than Leicester winning the league, and they won the league. It wasn't just like they performed on 2 games. It was a 38-game schedule, and they performed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what scares me, is that we'll no longer have the same historical presence that we've had before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just scary to me.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
So the way that the fixtures will be set up, it'd be the 20 teams would be split into 2 groups of 10.
Mm-hmm.
You'd play twice home and away legs. Same old. The top 3 in each group would automatically qualify for the quarterfinal. 4th and 5th would have to have a 2-legged playoff game to get into the quarterfinal.
Mm-hmm.
From then on, quarterfinal on is the exact same as the Champions League.
Okay.
Home leg, away goal rule. Now, it's basically what's happened is that they're all fed up with the big leagues. Premier League has been screwing over the top 6 teams for some time now. Premier League, as much as we're rooting for them to still exist, they're not the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're just as bad as the rest of them, if not worse. The big teams have seen how unsuccessful VAR has been.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen how unsuccessful.
VAR's killed the game.
I mean, you got to think.
There's been big goals scored that was like in the 93rd minute. Like,
well, if you go back in
this world, no VAR, because they was literally this far off.
If you go back and look at some of the biggest goals in the history of football, like the one that comes to mind is, as a Man United fan, I was watching it the other day. I'm pretty sure Wayne Rooney was offside for that bicycle kick against Man City.
Probably was.
Because he was drifting back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he was offsides. That goal gets disallowed in 2021.
And you never have that.
You never have that
crazy
iconic
feeling.
moment.
The iconic moment. You put it like literally, dude. They will call offsides for you being your toe being over that.
Well, now they're doing it off your fingertips, bro.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. It's a cheat code.
Yeah.
It's a cheat code.
It's bad.
You can't do that.
So they've essentially said, screw you guys. We're making our own rules and playing on our own court. Which, I mean, fair play to them, but we all hate it.
Mm-hmm. We all hate it.
Now, there have been some people speak out about it, and some of the quotes I have here are from the leader of all of this, Florentino Perez, who is also the Real Madrid president. Said, football is the only global sport in the world with more than 4 billion fans, and our responsibility as big clubs is to respond to their desires. No one wanted this.
No one wanted this.
And you're seeing the outrage on Twitter, and the problem is that they're doing it now because they can get away with it because no one's in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
No one's in the stadium. You can't, like, Liverpool are iconic for boycotting.
Yep.
They've always showed up when it comes to that. They've always boycotted when necessary. Can't do it. No one's in the stadiums. I mean, they're already losing money, so it's not like they can lose more.
Maybe that's why they're doing this.
And
make up the money they lost.
For those of you out there who are saying this could still be all BS and not happen, this is how far it's gone. This is the steps that have been taken. The Juventus chairman Andrea Agnelli resigned from his UEFA Executive Committee position and as the chairman of the ECA, which is the European Club Association.
He didn't want this to happen.
No, because he wants it to happen.
Oh, okay.
And so have all of the other 12 teams. They've all resigned from anything to do with UEFA or European football. They are no longer a part of it as of today.
Oh, God.
That's how far this is.
Oh, God.
If there's one side not bluffing, it's the Super League side. They're fully committed to this point. And this would not have gone public because they've received nothing but backlash. Mm-hmm. This would not have gone public if there was any doubt in their mind that this was going to happen. And that's the scary thing about all of it.
More and more I hear, dude, this is actually going to happen.
The top 5 leagues remain united in trying to stop the breakaway, but the problem is the power no longer resides with them. If anything, they got to be begging them back. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. But one thing that I found very heartbreaking is a player that I admired a lot growing up, from his Real Madrid days to his Arsenal days, Mesut Ozil, came out with a tweet that I thought really encapsulated everything. He said, "Kids grow up dreaming to win the World Cup and the Champions League, not any Super League. The enjoyment of big games is that they only happen once or twice a year, not every week. Really hard to understand for all football fans out there. Broken heart." Mm-hmm. I thought that really just kind of encapsulated everything.
Well, he's always been kind of hated.
Yeah. And it's
like,
sad because this is, as someone who grew up in America, we know money wins out.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, money wins out. Basketball, money wins out. Football, money wins out.
Money
but this
slang around in the U.S.
But this is just confirmation that it does, like, FC Porto winning the Champions League is never going to happen again under Jose Mourinho.
Mm-mm.
There's so many things that make everything about this sport that we love special that are never going to happen again.
Mm-mm.
Especially if things stay the way they are right now. And that's what scares me the most, that you're losing the history of it. And I kind of talked to you about it earlier, but what scares me is if this goes through, how are we going to look at Legends of the Game in 15 years' time? Is the asterisk going to go beside the previous Legends or the current Legends? So is Ronaldinho forever going to be discredited because he didn't win a Champions League and the Super League?
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. How they do with Pele and all that. Discrediting him for all what he's done.
And what I kept thinking about was, at a certain point in a player's career, they've had so much success that it comes down to the international success that they've had. Everybody who hates Messi brings up the fact he's never won an international tournament. International tournaments will no longer exist for the likes of Messi. Cristiano's European Championship win will be the last of a major top player. Kylian Mbappe winning the World Cup might be the last time we see a superstar win the World Cup. Think about that. It's a terrifying day. It's absolutely terrifying for all parties involved.
I hate this.
It
takes the fun away from it.
And the crazy thing is that, so we talked about it earlier, but UEFA has already proposed to expand the Champions League to try and, get more money in to appease these teams, to expand it to 36 teams. We're going to see teams some people have never heard of in the Champions League.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying earlier. There's going to be teams we've never even seen play like close to this level.
We may see a Rangers versus Celtic quarterfinal in the Champions League.
That would be insane.
For all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong reasons, but I mean that would be awesome for them.
But it won't mean as much.
It won't mean as much.
Won't mean nearly as much.
Because we ain't going to be able to see the best players. Like, you work hard to get to this place. You work hard to get to the Champions League, and that's what it's been like for the last, how long? Forever, as long as we've known it. You worked your ass off to get to this level, to win a Champions League. That's the dream. And then
I think that
someone takes it away from you. But you also got to think it's giving the opportunity to so many more people to shine.
It's super annoying
that's
because
the only good thing about it. I don't care about
you look at Man United, you look at Real Madrid, Liverpool, throw Barcelona in there as well.
How much more money is these teams going to get from being in this league?
Billions.
Okay, well then they're going to take all the best players that's on the other teams.
Yes.
They're going to take them there, and then we're going to have no competition. No.
The Premier League's not going to mean anything at
No,
all.
it's like we're going to be watching Brown versus Southampton after that. Or Celtic versus. I don't even know. I can't even think right now.
Great camera out of focus. There it is. I'm just going to edit that.
So,
but it's a lot of gall from old Florentino because what makes Real Madrid special? 13 Champions Leagues.
They dominated.
Go all the way back to the 50s when they dominated with Di Stefano and Puskás. That's what made them special.
Classico.
Not only are those wins going to become more scarce, like you're going to be a legendary club if you win 2 Super Leagues. It's essentially going to be the New York Knicks of the NBA. The Knicks are one of the biggest teams in the NBA, and they've not won since '72.
True.
That's what we're talking about. And yes, there might be more parity, whatever, but it's not going to be as special.
Not there.
It's not. It's just it's sad, and I'm sorry if you're Inter Milan or AC Milan and you think you're going to win this, get out. If you're Tottenham or Arsenal and think you're getting anywhere near this, get out.
No.
If you're Juventus, once Ronaldo leaves, get out. And he's leaving this summer.
You're going to have Man City, Man U, Real Madrid, Chelsea.
As a Man United fan, we'll be lucky to sniff.
And Barcelona. And Liverpool, once they get healthy again, probably killing everyone. And then between those, I mean, I don't know who would win between the other ones. But
Chelsea on the rise, maybe. Like
Chelsea's on the rise, but it could also fall very easily.
And it's
Chelsea.
It's sad because just a couple of weeks ago we were talking about how exciting it was the semifinals. The semifinals are completely up in the air. Like no one has any idea who's going to win them. Nobody. Real Madrid could lose to Chelsea. Chelsea could lose to Real Madrid. Nobody knows. PSG could lose to Man City. Man City could lose to PSG. You lose that. Champions League, okay, so what you're saying, if this goes through and stays, you're discounting the entire history of the game. And if you're a new modern age fan, that's probably not going to mean a whole lot to you. But to those of us who grew up not only on the game, but the history of it, it's depressing. It just is. It just, I mean, there's no other way to put it. Is it exaggeration? Probably. But it's just depressing. I really hope that something gets worked out to where this doesn't happen. If it becomes a midweek competition, that's probably the best case scenario. But this is going to happen.
It still takes the fun out of it, though, because we all wait for that El Clasico to come around, or we wait for, the big games to happen. We wait for the semifinals of the Champions League, or we wait for the final of the Champions League. I mean, it's just, we wait for those big-time games, like you were saying earlier. That's what we wait for.
Yeah.
We wait to see the best go against the best, and we always hope our favorite clubs are in it. But we wait for those big games. Now, it's kind of cool that there's one every week. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool, but it takes the fun out of it. We'll just be like, Liverpool's playing Barcelona right now. Like, before today, that's big.
Yeah.
After today, we're going to be like, oh, well, we're going to see them play Real Madrid 2 days from now. Who cares?
Well, it winning the Premier League means nothing. Winning Ligue 1, it already kind of meant nothing, but it means nothing.
Winning the Prem's a pretty big deal.
It won't be if this goes through because it'll be secondary competition. You say, well, Champions League is primary. Well,
so we're like
it's
Real and Barca are going to be out of La Liga?
Like, if you're saying that the Premier League is a secondary competition, then all of Arsenal's achievements mean nothing. And they're in this.
So are like Barcelona and Real going to be out of like La Liga?
If UEFA isn't bluffing.
Sure that was just saying. Yeah.
All the top 5 leagues, all the teams, yeah. If UEFA's not bluffing, all these teams are out.
Dang, you cannot. Who's going to be in the El Clasico? Is the El Clasico even going to be a thing?
El Clasico is going to happen once every 6 weeks.
I know it's going to happen once every 6 weeks, but still, it won't be as much. It won't be as big of a deal. And it won't. It's not like it's going to be called the El Clasico.
No.
It's going to be something that it's not even going to be a thing.
The only thing I could really compare it to is, what what made so if you want to compare this to like the NBA, the Celtics versus the Lakers is nowhere near as special as if Barcelona and Real Madrid met in the Champions League. Nowhere near. Even though they play twice a year already. You're going to add another 2 on top of that. If they stay in La Liga.
Crazy news, man. Crazy
news. Some of the biggest rivalries in this game won't mean anything.
Nope. Won't mean nothing.
And honestly, even if they stay in the Prem, if they somehow work it out to where it's just a midweek competition, first of all, that completely negates the Champions League, which we've already talked about. It'll be basically scrapped. I don't care about Midtjylland versus Celtic. I'm sorry, I just don't. So
this is crazy news, man.
And that's
not to react.
And the thing is that this is just the beginning.
Yeah, there's going to be way more news come out like tomorrow.
The fact that there's still 3 unnamed clubs says a lot about how quickly this is all coming together.
Yeah.
On one side, I hate it as a fan. On the other side, I understand it from they've been the Big Six in England have been screwed over quite a bit. But here's my question. I know that Arsenal are very historic. And because of their club value and everything, they're in here. But why are Tottenham in here?
Makes no sense.
It's a successful year for Tottenham if they make top 4. In their entire history, top 4 is celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
Pochettino was the best manager in the world because he got them top 4. Got them to a Champions League final. There's a lot of consequences to this. And fans are saying they're going to boycott. Like, I was listening to an interview today from a passionate Liverpool fan who's been a season ticket holder for years. He said,
Liverpool fan, you seen Arsenal?
He said, I'm not going to support my club anymore if this goes through. And the cold reality is, with the steps that have been taken, none of this is getting taken back. There's no way. There's no way they can just completely turn on it. The fans are already so mad at the owners, not that they care, but they can't just come out and with their billionaire egos, no one's going to come out and say, oh, it was just one big mistake. No, they want to make this happen.
No, they're making it happen. They're going to make it happen. They're going to be like, if you don't watch your favorite team play, you're going to do it this way. You're going to do it by my way.
The question now is just when, and if it is a couple years off, like the original intention was, what's going to happen for the next couple years?
You need a lot of changes. A lot of different teams are going to be introduced. The only good thing I see about coming out of this, money is not a big thing to me. Other than the whole money deal, the only good thing that's coming about this is there's going to be a lot more players that are going to be recognized. There's going to be a lot more teams that's going to be more recognized. So now you're going to have teams like Celtic and stuff like that are going to be coming up, and more players are going to be able to get their names out there that weren't able to be like stars.
What I'm scared of is
now there's going to be a new star. There's going to be new stars of the Premier League. There's going to be new stars of the Champions League. Things like that.
In 50 years, this is always looking way too far in the future, but in 50 years, how are we going to look at Sir Alex Ferguson because he never competed in the Super League? People are already trying to discount Pep, even though he won 6 trophies in Spain, but it was because it was in Spain and he had the best team in the world. Mm-hmm. If you're already discounting that, imagine in a couple years when the Super League's normal. How are we going to look at the history of the game?
Coming up on a new time, boys. I don't have a reaction. The only reaction I have is it just doesn't. It makes sense to me, but at the same time, it makes no sense.
So it's but on a positive note, football's still going to be around. And good news is that it's going to be so much harder for them, but it's going to give some smaller clubs some spotlight.
Hey, USA won't make a run
No,
now.
even England's 17U could be our starting 11.
No, it's sad. It's terrible. You never know.
Just bonus conversation. I had a thought. This has nothing to do with the Super League, so if that's what you tuned in for, check out. So you remember when Messi was coming up, he was a right winger, played out on the left wing some, and he kind of got eased into the squad by Pep and Frank Rijkaard before Pep. Mm-hmm. And Pep turned him into a false 9. Some people thought at the time that Messi could have been a midfielder. Could have been a right winger. Nobody really knew what his role was. With Pep's newest young protege, Phil Foden. Man City are very clearly not sold on Gabriel Jesus. No matter how talented you think he is, they wouldn't be looking for a replacement if they thought he was the real deal. What if, I'm not saying he's the same caliber player, would never make that claim. What if he turns Phil Foden into a false 9? Foden's a 10. In my opinion, Foden's a 10. He's a cam. What if he turns him into a false 9 and he just recreates 08, 09 Barcelona, not nearly as talented, but the best he can in England?
That'd be crazy.
What if he turns him into a false 9? I don't see how that couldn't be successful.
That'd be crazy.
Kid's only 21, 22 maybe.
That'd be crazy.
Last thing we'll say. We're gonna act as if the Super League doesn't exist for a second. Who do you have winning the Euros?
I go France. My sleeper would be England.
If we're looking at pure talent, it should be France, but they just won a major competition, and unless you're
back to back.
unless you're Spain from 08 to 2012,
I'm on with England.
England should win it, but I don't believe in Gareth Southgate.
No, Southgate, I don't know.
He's not good. He's not a
What
good
about
manager.
Germany?
I don't know.
Germany should win it. Had a poor performance at the World Cup, get knocked out of the group stages. This is their tournament to win. I mean, Toni Kroos is playing the best he's played in a long. I mean, since the three-peat. Croatia aren't going to be a serious contender. Italy should be good, but they tend to disappoint.
They're all defense and offense.
I don't know.
Portugal are super stacked.
Ooh, Portugal's a shot too.
Super
Portugal's always
stacked.
good.
I think they'll probably play 2 up top. João and Ronaldo playing.
That's a hell.
Bruno
of a
Fernandes
duo.
at the 10.
Hell of a duo, and with Fernandez right about him. Yeah.
And at the central midfield, you have players like Ruben Neves, Renato Sanchez. In goal, you have Rui Patricio. At right back, you have Nelson Semedo.
And Ricardo Pereira.
Ricardo Pereira is probably better.
Rafael Guerrero on the left.
That team's serious.
That's a good shout. On that one too.
I think England should win it.
I got England.
I think that England's problem is that they have too many players
It's too good.
and not a good enough manager to get them all to play at the same time. Which it's impossible. I mean, they have 4 solid number 10s. Madison, Grealish. I know Grealish plays out wide and he's injured, so he's probably not going to go. But you have Madison, Foden. Even though he's not played, I would send him personally, Dele Alli.
Yeah. 5 right backs.
5 right backs. And you know Gareth Southgate's going to play 5 at the back.
Trent's going, no question.
Trent's going to go. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's going to go. Luke Shaw's going to go. Ben Chilwell's going to go. You have no serious center backs.
Harry Maguire's going.
As a Man United fan, I don't like Harry Maguire. Slabhead.
He's a legend.
I don't know.
Man.
That'll be something for a different podcast. Probably the next one. We'll do a little Euro coverage here in the next couple of days. If this goes even semi. If honestly, if this gets 5 views, we'll probably do a Euro coverage. But that's been everything you need to know about the Super League. Obvious, and we also covered. I don't even. Did we even touch on who we thought was going to win the Champions League?
I got PSG.
PSG should win it, and with Poch at the helm, you can't compare them to who they were the last year. They're a completely different team under Poch. But you could also say the exact same thing about Chelsea under Tuchel. And Real Madrid in Europe's Real Madrid in Europe. It's a great Final Four. I'm very excited. Hopefully those games happen. We have no idea. We're gonna have to know in the next couple of days. So, anyway, that's been, like I said earlier, everything you need to know about the Super League plus Champions League plus the Euros. What else did we touch on? We touched on quite a bit. We touched on the quality of player that could be left out of the World Cup.
Yeah. Touched on the
Touched on the Premier League.
Touched on the Euros. You know, let us know if you watch.
Touched
this.
on Jose Mourinho.
Yeah. If you
Where do you
watch
think
this,
he
let
goes
us-
next? If he
let
does
us-
go,
let us know how you feel.
does he go to club level or does he go straight to Portugal? Is it too close to the Euros to make him Portugal manager?
It's Jose Mourinho. I think he'll go club.
Too close to Euros.
It's too close to the Euros for him to do that. So, do you think he takes, just like he did the last time, does he take a year off and go to BT Sport? Be a pundit for a year and then come back out of nowhere?
That wouldn't be bad.
That wouldn't be bad. Maybe he needs to figure stuff out.
With his personality, he'd be a good show.
Oh, he was great the last time he was on there. He was a great pundit. I loved hearing it. And I just like listening to him talk, pretty much, to be honest with you. But that's been everything you need to know about a little bit of everything.
Thank you, guys.
For the 5 of you watching, congratulations. You've watched possibly the most incoherent version of this that you could possibly get.
Yep.
That's been Ethan, Travis, and Skippy.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Screw the Bears.
Thank
Up
you,
United.
guys. Thank you.